The battlecruiser looked like something had tried to tear it apart. Huge holes covered its dark metal sides. One engine hung loose, barely connected to the main body. Smoke drifted from broken sections that should never see open space. The ship moved slowly through the black void, shaking with each meter it traveled forward. Commander Zixtar stood on his bridge and hated every moment of this. His claws dug into the arm of his command chair. The Vrexians were warriors. They were proud. They did not run to others for help, especially not to humans. But his ship was dying. The nearest Vrexian repair station was 3 weeks away. His engineers told him the ship would break apart in 5 days. Maybe less. The human space station grew larger on his viewing screen. New Anchorage Station, they called it. It looked strange to Vrexian eyes. The station was not built for war. It had dozens of repair docks spreading out like metal arms. Ships of many different species floated around it, waiting their turn or having work done. Lights blinked everywhere. It looked busy and loud and chaotic. "Open communication channel," Zixtar ordered. His voice sounded rough. Asking for help felt like swallowing broken glass. A human face appeared on the screen. Female. Dark hair pulled back. Brown eyes that looked tired but alert. She wore a simple work uniform with grease stains on one sleeve. "This is New Anchorage Station. I'm Dock Supervisor Maria Chen. How can we help you?" Zixtar drew himself up taller. "I am Commander Zixtar of the Vrexian Warfleet. My vessel has sustained damage. We require repairs." He tried to sound like he was doing them a favor by being here. Maria studied his ship on her own screens. Her fingers moved over controls they could not see. "I'm seeing significant hull breaches, engine damage, and what looks like a completely failed power distribution network." "When did this happen?" 3 days ago. Border conflict. Zixtar did not want to give details. It was embarrassing enough that a simple patrol mission had gone so wrong. "Any casualties?" Maria asked. The question surprised him. Most repair stations asked about cargo first. 17 injured. None killed. Good. That's good. Maria looked at someone off screen and spoke in rapid human language. Then she looked back at Zixtar. "We can take you in Dock 7. I'm sending approach coordinates now. We'll do a full assessment and give you a repair timeline in 6 hours. How long will repairs take?" Zixtar demanded. Maria raised one eyebrow. "I just said we'll tell you in 6 hours after we assess the damage properly. But looking at your ship, I'd estimate 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Zixtar's spines rattled with anger. "That is unacceptable. We need to return to our fleet. Commander, your ship is held together by hope and some very stressed metal right now." Maria's voice stayed calm. "You want it done fast or you want it done right? Because fast repairs mean you'll be back here in a month when everything breaks again. Maybe in more pieces," Zixtar wanted to argue, but he knew she was correct. He had seen the damage reports. His own engineers had said the same thing, just more politely. 2 weeks, he agreed, the words bitter in his mouth. "Good choice. Follow the approach path carefully. Your starboard stabilizer looks wobbly." Maria smiled slightly. "Welcome to New Anchorage, Commander. We'll take good care of your ship." The communication ended. Zixtar sat back in his chair and watched as his helmsman carefully guided their broken vessel toward the station. Around them, other ships moved with purpose. Human repair shuttles zipped between vessels like small insects. Everything looked disorganized to Vrexian eyes, but somehow it all worked. The docking process took an hour. Magnetic clamps locked onto their hull with solid thuds that vibrated through the deck. Connection tunnels extended to their airlocks. Zixtar heard the hiss of pressure equalizing. Then human voices came over the communication system, speaking in cheerful tones that seemed wrong for such serious work. "Dock 7 secure. Beginning external assessment now. Atmosphere is stable in connection tunnels. Commander Zixtar, Supervisor Chen requests your presence in the main docking bay when you're ready." Zixtar gathered 3 of his officers and moved through the damaged corridors of his ship. They passed repair crews trying to patch holes and stabilize systems. Everyone looked exhausted. They had been working without rest since the battle. The Vrexian way was to push through pain and fatigue. Warriors did not complain. The airlock opened into a massive space that made Zixtar stop in surprise. The docking bay was enormous. His ship looked small inside it. But what surprised him more was the activity. Dozens of humans moved around in organized chaos. Some wore heavy work suits and floated on small jetpacks near his ship's damaged sections. Others operated machinery that extended scanning equipment. Everyone seemed to be talking at once, shouting information back and forth. Maria Chen stood near a large display screen that showed a three-dimensional image of his ship. She was talking with three other humans, pointing at different damaged areas. When she saw Zixtar, she walked over immediately. "Commander, welcome aboard." She did not salute or bow. Humans apparently did not stand on ceremony much. "We're running full scans now. Should have preliminary data in another hour. Can I offer you and your crew anything? Food? Medical attention for your injured?" "We need nothing," Zixtar said stiffly. "Just repair our ship." Maria looked at him for a moment. Something in her expression said she understood more than he wanted her to. "All right. But the offer stands. We have a crew lounge on deck 3. Coffee's always fresh." She turned back to her work. "Oh, and Commander? Your ship's name translates to Talon of Dominance, right?" "Yes, good name. She's been through hell, but she's got good bones. We'll have her flying proper again soon." Maria said it like she was talking about a living thing, not a machine. Zixtar did not know what to say to that, so he said nothing. He just watched as the humans swarmed over his broken warship and wondered what he had gotten himself into. The first thing Zixtar noticed was the noise. Human repair crews never stopped talking. They shouted information across the dock. They argued about the best way to fix things. They made jokes while cutting through damaged metal. It should have been unprofessional. It should have been inefficient. But somehow the work got done faster than Zixtar had ever seen. He watched from an observation window as a human engineer named Jackson worked on a hull section. The man had been there for 6 hours straight. His shift should have ended 2 hours ago. Another human walked up to him. "Jackson, go home. You've been here since dawn." Jackson did not stop welding. "Almost done with this section. Look at this stress fracture here. It goes deeper than the scan showed. If we don't reinforce it now, it'll crack again under battle conditions. That's not in the work order. I don't care. This ship goes into combat. This crew needs it solid." Jackson finally stopped and lifted his welding mask. His face was covered in sweat. "Would you want your ship held together with minimum effort?" The other human sighed. "No, fine, I'll help. Let's get it done." Zixtar did not understand. The extra work would not earn them extra payment. His contract with the station specified exactly what repairs were needed. Why would they do more than required? It was not logical, but he saw it everywhere. A maintenance crew replaced a power coupling that was old but still working. "It'll fail in a few months," one explained. "Better to replace it now while we're in here." Another group spent hours recalibrating sensors to better specifications than the ship had when it was new. "Because we can," they said simply. On the third day, Zixtar went to the crew lounge Maria had mentioned. He told himself it was just to observe human behavior. Inside, he found several of his own crew already there. They sat at tables with humans, sharing food and talking. A young Vrexian engineer named Keth sat with a human woman who wore medical insignia. "The nightmares are getting worse," Keth was saying quietly. "Every time I close my eyes, I see the hull breach. I see my friend get pulled into space before the emergency shield's activated." The human medic put her hand on the table near Keth's claw, not touching, but close. "That's trauma. It's normal after what you went through. Have you talked to your medical officer? Vrexians do not speak of weakness, and it's not weakness. It's being alive." The medic's voice was gentle. "I served on a military ship before I came here. Saw things I wish I hadn't. Lost people I cared about. It took me 2 years before I could sleep through a night without waking up scared." Keth looked at her with surprise. "You, but humans are so soft? Emotional?" The medic smiled sadly. "Yeah, we are. And you know what? That's okay. Feeling things doesn't make you weak. Pretending you don't feel things until you break, that's what destroys you." Zixtar left the lounge quickly. He did not want to hear more. But the conversation stayed in his mind. That night he accessed the station's files. He told himself it was research. He looked up New Anchorage Station's performance records. What he found confused him more. The station had a 97% client return rate. Ships that got repaired here came back for future repairs even when closer options existed. Customer satisfaction scores were the highest in the entire sector. He dug deeper. He found reviews from other species. A Zelthari merchant captain wrote, "They fixed things I didn't even know were broken. My crew is happier because the water reclamation system actually makes the water taste good now." I asked why they bothered. The human engineer said no crew should have to drink bad water for months at a time. A Corthian freighter owner wrote, "My ship is old. Most repair docks tell me to scrap it. The humans at New Anchorage treated it like it was precious. They found parts that haven't been manufactured in decades. They made custom replacements. When I asked why they went to so much trouble for an old ship, they said every ship deserves to fly." Zixtar closed the files. He did not understand humans at all. On day 7, Maria Chen gave him a tour of the work. They walked through access tunnels that let them see inside his ship's damaged sections. Everywhere, humans worked with focus and care. Maria explained every repair in detail. She showed him reinforcements they had added. She pointed out systems they had upgraded at no extra cost. "Why?" Zixtar finally asked. "Why do more than the contract requires?" Maria stopped walking. She looked at him with those steady brown eyes. "Because this isn't just a ship to us, Commander. This is your home, your crew's home. You live here. You fight here. Some of you will probably die here eventually." She put her hand on a repaired bulkhead. "When we send you back out there, we want to know we did everything possible to keep you safe. It's not about the contract. It's about doing the job right." "That is not efficient," Zixtar said. "No, but it's effective." Maria smiled. "Our return rate is 97%. You know what the galactic average is? 40%. Most species fix a ship just enough to get it flying, then hope it doesn't come back with the same problem. We fix it properly, so ships don't die from shoddy repairs. Crews don't die because someone cut corners." She started walking again. Zixtar followed. "You know what the other stations call us?" Maria continued. "They say we're too emotional, too involved. They say we care too much about machines. But ships aren't just machines. They carry lives, dreams, futures. Every ship has a story. Yours is a warship that protects your people. That matters." They reached the engine room. Zixtar's engineers worked alongside humans, and he noticed something strange. They were laughing together, sharing techniques. His chief engineer was showing a human a Vrexian method for calibrating plasma injectors. The human was showing his engineer a human trick for balancing power flow. "Your chief engineer is brilliant," Maria said. "She's taught my people 3 things this week we didn't know. That's why we do this too. Every ship that comes here teaches us something new. Every species has knowledge to share. You make us better at our jobs." Zixtar watched his crew work peacefully beside humans. He thought about Keith talking openly about trauma. He thought about Jackson working extra hours to make sure a repair was perfect. He thought about engineers who cared if water tasted good. Maybe humans were not soft. Maybe they were something else entirely. Something the galaxy had not seen before. Something that might actually be stronger than warriors who refuse to feel anything at all. The alarm woke Zixtar from shallow sleep. He had been resting in temporary quarters on the station while his ship's life support systems were being rebuilt. The sound was not a battle alarm. It was different. Urgent but not aggressive. A distress signal. He reached the command center of the station in minutes. Maria Chen was already there, still wearing the same clothes from yesterday. She probably had not slept. Her crew gathered around displays showing a massive ship drifting in space. "What is happening?" Zixtar demanded. Maria glanced at him. "Colony ship. Sith species. Complete engine failure. They're drifting toward the Kestor radiation belt. If they reach it, everyone on board dies." Zixtar felt his spines go rigid. The Sith. His people had fought 3 wars against them. Old hatreds ran deep between Vrexians and Sith. "How many are on the ship?" 40,000. Mostly civilians. Families heading to a new colony world. Maria's fingers flew across her controls. "They're 6 hours from the radiation belt. Maybe less." "That is unfortunate," Zixtar said carefully. "But surely another Sith vessel will respond to their distress call." "The nearest Sith ship is 14 hours away. They won't make it in time." Maria pulled up a schematic of the colony ship. "We can reach them in 90 minutes. Zixtar understood what she was not saying. "You wish to help them?" "I wish to save 40,000 lives, yes. They are Sith." Zixtar made sure his words were clear. "Your current resources are allocated to repairing my ship. Our contract guarantees completion in 2 weeks. Diverting resources would delay our repairs." Maria finally looked directly at him. Her eyes were hard. "I'm aware of the contract, Commander." "Then you know you cannot help them without breaking your agreement with me." Zixtar felt a strange sensation in his chest. He was giving her an excuse. A logical reason to turn away. Why was he doing that? I can help them and keep our contract. Maria turned to her crew. Listen up. We're splitting resources. Half the crew stays on the Talon of Dominance. Half goes to emergency rescue operations on the Sith colony ship. We maintain our 2-week deadline. That means double shifts. Triple shifts if needed. I need volunteers who are willing to work without sleep. Every human hand in the room went up. Immediately, without hesitation. That is impossible, Zixtar said. You cannot complete my repairs on half resources in the same time. Maria smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone about to do something very difficult. Commander, you've been here a week. You've watched us work. Do you really think we can't do impossible things when lives depend on it? Before Zixtar could answer, she was giving orders. The room exploded into activity. Humans ran to gather equipment. Communication channels opened. Repair shuttles launched toward the drifting colony ship. In less than 20 minutes, half of Maria's crew was gone. Zixtar went back to his ship. The humans remaining there worked like people possessed. They moved faster than he had seen before. They did not stop for breaks. One engineer fell asleep standing up, and his partner caught him, let him rest for 15 minutes, then woke him to continue working. He found Jackson in the engine room at hour 36. The man's eyes were red. His hands shook from exhaustion, but he was still calibrating power systems with perfect precision. You should rest, Zixtar said. Jackson laughed. It sounded slightly crazy. Can't, people are dying out there. Maria's crew is buying them time, but if we don't finish our work on schedule, it means nothing. She'll have failed her word to you. Can't let that happen. Why do you care? They are Sith, you have no alliance with them. Jackson stopped working. He looked at Zixtar like the Vrexian had said something incomprehensible. They're people, families, kids, that's all that matters. Your species fought a war against the Sith 20 years ago. I know. My father died in that war. Jackson turned back to his work. But those 40,000 civilians didn't kill him. They're just people trying to get to a new home. Maybe raise children, grow gardens, live their lives. I can't help my father, but I can help them. So I will. Zixtar left the engine room feeling strange. He went to the observation window and watched the distant colony ship. Human shuttles swarmed around it like tiny lights. He accessed the communication channel and heard Maria's voice directing operations. Team 3, I need that power conduit bypassed in the next hour. Team 7, how's the reactor stabilization coming? Good, keep it up. Remember, we're not aiming for perfect. We're aiming for good enough to get them out of the radiation belt. We can do proper repairs after they're safe. Hour 48. No human had slept more than 20 minutes. Zixtar watched them operate on pure determination and something he could not name. His own crew watched too. Some of them started helping without being asked. A Vrexian electronics specialist joined a human team repairing his ship's communication array. It goes faster with more hands, she said simply. Hour 60. The colony ship's engines flickered to life. Emergency power only, but enough. The massive vessel began to turn, slowly pulling away from the radiation belt's edge. On the station, humans cheered. Some cried. Then they went back to work. Hour 72. Maria came back to the station. She looked like death. Her clothes were stained with coolant and grease. Her eyes were hollow from exhaustion, but she went straight to the command center to check on his ship's repair status. We're on schedule, her second-in-command reported. Talon of Dominance will be ready in 7 days as promised. Maria nodded. Then she collapsed, just fell over like someone had cut her strings. Medical staff rushed to her. They carried her to the medical bay. Zixtar followed. The doctor looked annoyed. She hasn't slept in 72 hours. Hasn't eaten properly either. She's just exhausted. Needs rest and fluids. She'll be fine. The doctor glared at Maria's unconscious form like he was angry at her for being human. Zixtar stood there looking at this small human woman who had worked herself unconscious to save people she did not know. People her species had no reason to help. People who were enemies of his species. And she had done it while still keeping her promise to him. While still making sure his ship would be ready on time. In that moment, Zixtar understood something fundamental about humans. Their weakness was not weakness at all. Their caring was not soft. It was the hardest thing he had ever seen. It was steel wrapped in flesh. It was strength that other species could not even recognize because it looked nothing like the strength they knew. The Sith colony ship sent a message. It was addressed to Maria Chen, but she was asleep, so Zixtar read it. Thank you. You saved our children. We have no words big enough for that debt. If you ever need anything, we will answer. The Sith do not forget. Zixtar looked at the message for a long time. Then he went back to his ship and found his chief engineer. Kara, he said quietly, when we return to the fleet, we will tell them about this place. We will tell them what humans did. All of it. Kara looked at him with surprise. Commander? They saved our enemies, while keeping their promise to us, while working themselves to death. Zixtar felt something he rarely felt. Respect. The galaxy should know what humans are capable of, not just their technology. Their hearts, his engineer nodded slowly. Yes, Commander. The galaxy should know. 6 months passed. Maria Chen stood in her office looking at a waiting list that had grown impossibly long. 23 ships waited for dock space. 15 more had sent requests for future repairs. 3 governments wanted to negotiate contracts. Her communication system never stopped blinking with new messages. This is getting ridiculous, her second-in-command said. He dropped another stack of requests on her desk. A Diluvian freighter just offered double payment if we can squeeze them in next month. A Korthian military vessel wants to bypass closer repair stations to come here. We're booked solid for the next 4 months. Maria rubbed her tired eyes. What happened? We were busy before, but this is crazy. You saved 40,000 Sith civilians. That's what happened. He pulled up news reports on her screen. The story went everywhere. Sith media, Vrexian media, even species that don't talk to each other heard about it. There are documentaries being made about New Anchorage Station. Maria scrolled through the reports. She found an interview with a Sith mother who had been on that colony ship. The woman held her child and cried while talking about the human repair crews who worked without sleep. Another article discussed the Vrexian commander who spread the story throughout his military fleet. Commander Zixtar has been busy, Maria muttered. She found a quote from him in a Vrexian military journal. Human repair docks do not simply fix vessels. They care for them as if each ship carries their own families. This is not weakness. This is strength we must learn to value. Her communication system blinked again. Incoming call from a Zelthari merchant captain. Maria accepted it. A 4-eyed alien face appeared on the screen. Supervisor Chen? I am Captain Dreth of the merchant vessel Golden Wind. I wish to schedule repairs at your facility. We're pretty booked up right now, Captain. I can fit you in about 3 months from now. I will wait. Captain Dreth made a gesture Maria had learned meant agreement. I have heard what you did for the Sith. I have also heard about the quality of your work. There is a closer repair station, and it is cheaper. But I want human repairs. Can I ask why? The captain's eyes blinked in sequence. 2 reasons. First, I have heard your crews actually care if the ship is fixed properly. The last station I used, my water reclamation system barely worked. They said it met minimum standards, but my crew had to drink water that tasted like metal and chemicals for 3 months. I complained. They said it was not their problem. Maria made a note. And the second reason? My ship is old. 23 years I have flown the Golden Wind. She is not fast. She is not beautiful. But she is mine. Other stations tell me to scrap her and buy new. They say repairs are not worth the cost. Captain Dreth's voice became softer. But she is my home. I raised my children on this ship. My mate died on this ship. I do not want a new one. I want this one to keep flying. I heard that humans understand this. Maria felt her throat tighten. We do, Captain. Send me your ship's specifications. We'll take good care of her. After the call ended, Maria sat quietly for a moment. Then she went down to the repair docks. She needed to see her crews. In Dock 3, a team worked on a small Pelthian science vessel. The ship was ancient by modern standards. Its owner was a researcher who could not afford a new ship. Maria's crew was carefully replacing systems one at a time, using refurbished parts when new ones were too expensive. Jackson was there, of course. He never seemed to sleep. He was teaching a new engineer how to calibrate sensors properly. It's not just about making them work, Jackson explained. It's about making them work well. This scientist needs accurate readings for his research. If we do sloppy work, his data will be wrong. Maybe his research fails. Maybe something important doesn't get discovered. So we do it right. The new engineer looked confused. But the contract only specifies basic calibration. Jackson smiled. Kid, the contract is the minimum we're allowed to do. The job is what needs to be done. Learn the difference. Maria moved on to Dock 5. A Vrexian warship was being repaired there. Not the Talon of Dominance, but a different vessel from the same fleet. The Vrexian crew worked alongside Maria's humans, and she could see the difference from 6 months ago. The Vrexians no longer stood apart. They shared meals with the humans. They traded stories. One young Vrexian was learning to play a human card game during a break. The ship's commander saw Maria and approached. "Supervisor Chen, I wanted to thank you personally. Commander Zixtar recommended your facility. He said you would treat my ship with proper respect." "We treat all ships with respect, Commander." "Yes. I am beginning to understand what that means." The Vrexian gestured toward his ship. "In our culture, we view ships as tools, weapons, resources to be used. But watching your crews work, I see something different. You act as if the ships are alive." "In a way they are," Maria said. "They carry life. They protect life. They make life possible in the vacuum of space. That makes them important beyond their metal and systems." The commander was quiet for a moment. "We Vrexians pride ourselves on strength, on discipline, on being warriors. But I think perhaps we have missed something important. Caring for things is also a kind of strength, maybe a harder kind." Maria did not know what to say to that, so she just nodded. Later, she met with a Galactic Concordat inspector who was reviewing the station's safety and quality standards. The inspector was a Thalian, a species known for being logical and precise. "Your procedures are highly irregular," the inspector said, looking at reports. "Your crews frequently exceed contract specifications. They work voluntary overtime. They make modifications not requested by clients. By standard efficiency metrics, you are wasting resources." "And yet," Maria prompted, "and yet your post-repair failure rate is 1/10 the galactic average. Ships repaired here last longer between maintenance. Customer satisfaction is the highest on record. Client return rate is unprecedented." The inspector's antennae twitched with confusion. "I do not understand how inefficient procedures produce superior results," Maria smiled. "Because we're not inefficient. We're thorough. There's a difference. When you care about the outcome, you don't cut corners. When you see ships as homes instead of objects, you make sure they're safe. That is not logical. No, it's emotional. And emotion, Inspector, can be very practical." Maria pulled up statistics. "Look at these numbers. Our clients recommend us to others. They pay premium prices. They wait months for openings. We have more business than we can handle. All because we care. That's not inefficient. That's smart." The inspector studied the data for a long time. Finally, the antennae settled into a position Maria had learned meant acceptance. Perhaps there is something to be learned from human methods after all. That evening, Maria stood at the observation window in her office. She watched ships come and go. Human shuttles moved between vessels like busy insects. In every dock, crews worked with focus and care. Engineers laughed together. Aliens and humans shared meals during breaks. Someone had hung up decorations in Dock 7 for a cultural holiday Maria did not recognize. It looked like home. Her communication system blinked. Another request for repairs. She smiled and accepted it. More work, more ships, more lives to protect. This was what humans did. They cared. They worked hard. They treated machines like they mattered because the people inside them mattered. It was not the strongest military in the galaxy. It was not the best technology. It was just caring. But maybe, Maria thought, caring was its own kind of power. The kind that changed things slowly but permanently. The kind that built trust instead of fear. The kind that made the galaxy a little bit better, one repaired ship at a time. The Galactic Concordat delegation arrived on a Tuesday morning. Maria Chen watched their official transport dock with more nervousness than she wanted to admit. The Concordat sent representatives only for important matters, usually matters of war, trade agreements, or major disputes. She could not imagine what they wanted with a repair station. Ambassador Tvex was tall, even for a Quillian. Her scales shimmered blue and silver. Her 3 eyes missed nothing as she walked through the docking bay. 2 assistants and 4 guards accompanied her. Maria met them in her best uniform, the one she saved for important clients. Ambassador Tvex, welcome to New Anchorage Station. Supervisor Chen. The ambassador's voice had a musical quality. Thank you for agreeing to this visit. The Concordat has become very interested in your operation here. We're just a repair station, Ambassador. Just a repair station that has changed shipping patterns across 3 sectors. Just a repair station that receives recommendations from species that rarely agree on anything. Just a repair station that somehow achieves results that our best analysts cannot explain. Tvex's center eye focused on Maria with uncomfortable intensity. We want to understand why. Maria gave them the tour. She showed them the docks, the repair bays, the supply warehouses. She explained their procedures, their training programs, their quality control systems. The ambassador listened politely and asked precise questions. But Maria could tell none of this was what Tvex really wanted to know. They stopped at Dock 9, where an old Corthian freighter was being repaired. The ship was ancient, held together by patches and prayers. A team of 5 humans worked on its engine core with intense concentration. This vessel is 47 years old, Tvex observed. It would be more cost-effective to scrap it. Probably, Maria agreed. But it belongs to Captain Jexley. He's owned it for 23 years. He's saving money for his daughter's education. This ship is how he earns that money. I see. And you believe this justifies the extensive repairs? Maria looked at the ambassador. Do you have children, ambassador? Tvex's scales rippled with surprise. I have 3 offspring. Would you do anything to give them a better future? Of course. Then you understand Captain Jexley. This ship isn't just metal and systems to him. It's his daughter's future. Every repair we do protects that future. So yes, it justifies extensive repairs. Tvex was quiet for a long moment. You speak of the ship as if it has meaning beyond its function. Because it does. Every ship has meaning. Every ship carries dreams. Maria gestured around the bay. That medical transport in Dock 4? It delivers medicine to remote colonies. Those medicines save lives. That science vessel in Dock 2? It's mapping new star systems, expanding knowledge. That warship in Dock 7? It protects its people from threats. Every single ship here matters to someone. Matters deeply. We don't see tools. We see stories. They continued the tour. Tvex watched the crew's work. She observed humans laughing together during breaks. She saw aliens and humans sharing meals. She noticed the memorial wall in the main corridor, where ships that had been lost were remembered with names and dates. You have a memorial for ships? Tvex asked. Maria stopped in front of the wall. These are ships we couldn't save. Ships that came here too damaged, or that were destroyed after they left. We remember them because they mattered. Because the people on them mattered. Tvex read the name slowly. This one. The Wandering Star. I remember this incident. Pirates. Everyone aboard was killed. The ship came here for repairs 3 times, Maria said quietly. Captain Drelthos. Good man, funny. His crew were like family. When we heard what happened, we mourned. We put their ship on this wall so we don't forget. You grieve for clients? We grieve for people, yes. Maria touched one of the names gently. They trusted us to keep them safe. We did our best. Sometimes our best isn't enough. But we remember. We learn, we get better. So maybe next time we can save someone. Tvex stood silently for a long time. Then she asked the question Maria had been waiting for. What is your secret, Supervisor Chen? The Concordat has studied your methods. Your technology is not superior. Your facilities are adequate but not exceptional. Your procedures are actually less efficient than standard protocols. Yet your results are unprecedented. What do you do that others do not? Maria considered her answer carefully. Come with me, Ambassador. I want you to meet someone. She led Tvex to the maintenance level away from the main docks. In a small workshop, an old man worked at a welding bench. His hair was white. His hands were scarred from decades of work. His movements were slow but precise. This is Marcus, Maria said. He's 70 years old. He's been working on ships for 52 years. He could have retired 15 years ago. He stays because, in his words, the ships need him. Marcus looked up and nodded at them. Ma'am, Ambassador. He went back to welding a small component with intense concentration. Marcus is not the fastest worker, Maria continued. He's not the strongest, but every ship he touches flies safer. Every repair he makes lasts longer. Because he cares. Every single ship, every single repair matters to him personally. That is not efficiency, Tvex said. No, it's excellence. Maria walked to a window that looked out over the docks. You want to know our secret, Ambassador? It's simple. Every species in the galaxy sees ships as tools, as resources, as assets to be maintained and replaced. Humans see them differently. We see homes. We see dreams. We see the people inside them trying to live their lives. Maria pointed to a merchant vessel being repaired. That's the Silver Dawn. Captain Threx is a trader. He's transporting medical supplies to a colony that needs them. If we do shoddy work, those supplies might not arrive. People might die. So we don't do shoddy work. Not because the contract demands it. Because people need those supplies. She pointed to another ship. That's the Morning Light family ship. Parents and 3 kids. They're colonists heading to a new world. If our repairs fail, those children might die in space. So we check everything twice. We make sure it's perfect. Because those kids deserve to reach their new home. You make it personal, Tivek said slowly. We make it human. Maria turned to face the ambassador. Other species are logical, efficient, practical. Those are good things. But humans, we care. Sometimes too much. Sometimes inefficiently. But that caring drives us to excellence that pure logic never reaches. When you care about something, you don't accept good enough. You demand better. You work harder. You check one more time. You stay late. You do extra. Because it matters. Tivex walked to the window and looked out at the busy docks. The Concordat wanted me to understand why ships prefer human repairs. I believe I am beginning to understand. It is not about superior technology or efficiency. It is about relationship, trust, caring. Yes, this is not how most species operate. I know. Maria smiled. Most species think we're too emotional, too involved. They say we anthropomorphize machines. They're right, we do. We give ships personalities. We talk to them. We feel proud when they fly well and sad when they're damaged. It's not logical at all, yet it works. It works because the crews feel it too. When a captain knows we care about their ship as much as they do, they trust us. When an engineer sees us go beyond the contract, they remember. When a family watches us work all night to fix their home, they tell others. Trust builds reputation. Reputation builds business. Caring builds everything else. Tivex turned to Maria. Her 3 eyes studied the human with what might have been respect. The Concordat will file a report about human repair facilities. I will recommend that our member species consider your methods. But I suspect many will not understand. Caring is not a resource they know how to value. That's okay, Maria said. We're not doing this to change the galaxy. We're doing it because it's right. Because ships deserve good repairs. Because crews deserve safe vessels. Because dreams deserve protection. If others learn from that, great. If not, we'll keep doing it anyway. A communication alert chirped. Maria checked it and laughed softly. Commander Zixtar is requesting dock space. Battle damage again. He says he'll wait however long it takes because, and I quote, no other station understands what the talent of dominance means to her crew. You have converted a Vrexian warrior to your philosophy, Tivex observed. That alone is remarkable. We didn't convert him. We just showed him that caring isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the strongest thing you can do. Maria started walking back to her office. Now if you'll excuse me, Ambassador, I need to find dock space for a very stubborn Vrexian commander and his ship. Tivex watched Maria walk away. Then she looked out at the docks again, at the humans and aliens working together, at the ships being repaired with care and precision, at the organized chaos that somehow produced excellence. She finally understood. Humanity's power was not in their weapons or technology or military might. It was in their ability to care deeply about things others dismissed as unimportant, to see meaning where others saw only function, to build relationships where others saw only transactions. It was not the strongest power in the galaxy. It was not the fastest or most efficient, but it was the kind of power that lasted, the kind that built loyalty across species and cultures, the kind that changed things slowly but permanently. In the end, Tivex thought that might be the most dangerous power of all. Not because it destroyed, but because it made you want to come back, made you trust, made you believe that someone somewhere actually cared if you made it home safely. As she returned to her ship, she heard Maria's voice over the communication system, greeting the arriving Vrexian warship. Welcome back, Talon. Let's get you home safe. Tivex smiled. Humans were going to change the galaxy. Not with weapons. With something much more powerful. With heart,